Everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Principal Jerry Mack of Chadron High School. We wanted to introduce you to a video series that we're doing here at the Chadron Record. We're calling it On the Record. And it's going to be a regular series of videos kind of aimed at community topics. But for the near future here, we're going to be speaking with Jerry and other staff at the high school, kind of discussing topics of interest and concerns that the community might have. We know that recently there was some concerns that came out regarding communications. You held a couple of meetings to kind of address some of that, but we kind of wanted to face that head on here today and kind of relay some of the information to our readers and now our watchers regarding the challenges of communication and what you guys are looking for, and kind of the two-way.
And I think that says it as good as anything right there. Just the challenges of communication and us trying to figure out in this age of technology, what works best for communicating with parents, how to get feedback from our patrons and our parents. And that's kind of what's come out recently in some of these meetings. The topic has been about some of our extracurricular or sporting events. But aside from that, those topics we'll continue to work on and get an action plan put together. But aside from that, one of the biggest issues that really is coming up is the communication. How can we encourage people to give us a call, encourage people to communicate with us, give us feedback on what's working and not working for how we're communicating to our public and our parents. Just thinking about this, I've been in Chadron High School for 16 years, 7 of those years as the high school principal. And just thinking about it, no principal in Chadron High School prior to me ever had a Facebook account, ever had a Twitter account, ever had a website or a blog that all of us principals have. That's just been in the last 7 years. What if that works? I have a text messaging account as well. I think I have almost 500 people in the community that subscribe to the text messages. And so I get feedback through the year on what works, what doesn't work, and some of the research that we see is out there nationally with schools is parents want the information handed to them is what we're hearing. They don't want to have to go find information. So another new feature we have is Our School Today for our activities calendar. You get to see the activities director, his calendar, live, every event K through 12, just by going online and looking. But what we're hearing is, I think parents want that push to them, whether it's through text messaging or, I don't know, we've tried Facebook and Twitter. We have an Instagram account now. I don't even know Instagram. I've never had a Facebook account. And so, we're just trying to figure out how best to communicate. And the big stumbling block I think we're running into right now is if we're not pushing the information, we're really trying to encourage what we're calling two-way communication. How parents can just give us a call, just let us know, and trying to get the parents to contact us. That school officials, give me a call the AD, call a teacher, call a coach. So we can actually visit and hear what some of the concerns are. One topic obviously is communication. Let us know what's working, what doesn't work. I know I've had some parents mention that they like the text messages, but they don't want too many of them. And so that's a little bit of a challenge. So I got to keep it very broadly school, like schedule changes is what we try to promote with that. So how much do you want? How much do you not want? Even having teachers, put what their classrooms are doing. I could see a full-time position just for public relations. Yeah, absolutely. Truthfully, it's its own unique skill set is involved there, and so we're just trying to figure it out and trying to let parents know that by all means you can call our office and ask the question and go down that route.
Can you kind of talk us through what the proper chain of command is?
Well, it's funny. I almost said the word chain of command there because in the chain of command by policy is what we encourage. It's a 4-step process. Number 1 is if you have a concern, a complaint, a grievance, we want you to contact the most direct staff, is what the policy says. Whether that's a coach or a teacher, to make contact with the most direct route. Step 2 is, if that doesn't work for you, contact the building administrator, which could be an activities director, some administrator in the district. The 3rd step is the superintendent, and then the 4th step is the school board, and you can do that a couple of ways. We have, the school board has committees. The committees have a lot of time to visit with individual patrons or the open school board meetings. So there's those 4 steps in that order is the actual chain of command. The problem you run into is there's a lot of moving parts in a K-12 school system. And so, like, for instance, let's say if their complaint is something about grounds, just give me a call and I can direct you to who the most direct staff member is for that concern. If it's about facilities, well, that's a different person. Just give me a call. And so our job as administrators is to help direct the parent first to the most direct person involved. So that's what we encourage. Now, that doesn't take into account, there's certain things that chain of command isn't needed for, which is like discrimination, bullying, some of those serious offenses. Mm-hmm. You just go straight to an administrator in the district for some of that.
So when kind of we talked about the challenge of the concerns that came up with the athletic programs and the activities that we've seen you guys dealing with the meetings and that sort of thing. Part of that to me, it seemed like there were issues that parents and community members were having that they kind of let fester mm-hmm. instead of getting them out into the open, and then they kind of all came out together. Mm-hmm. And it's good that they've come out, because now you guys can address mm-hmm. them and talk to them. But I kind of, what do you see as the challenge there? Do you think there was some hesitation to come directly to the school or to communicate with you guys?
Must have been. Yeah, it must have been. So we had to wait until we saw a letter turned in to get a list of topics, what the concerns were. On the school point, there's a little frustration there with why you had to wait for a petition of individual topics. But at least we got the topics, and at least we've got those out in the open, and so our job now is to try to prioritize. When you have, I have nothing against a petition, by no means, but even in a list of topics, they're not prioritized. They didn't come to us like what's important. Most of it, a lot of issues with this school district is no different than many others in the state, is a financial issue, and I think the point was an awareness from our community about maybe a shift in prioritizing some funding and making sure that some funding is provided for some extracurricular opportunities for our students. We know our philosophy, taking care of all of our kids in the district, has been academics, and I would rightfully admit that we focus our attention on academics for our kids. But at the same time, our extracurricular, whether it's sports or fine arts, those are important programs for our kids too, to provide those opportunities. The question is, at what level of financial support from the district is needed for an opportunity for a student? And that's a very good discussion, I think, for the school board, for the administration to listen to. That's how I viewed the last couple of meetings we've had, these strategic plans, we call them, for extracurriculars. It's just to kind of hear from the parents and the patrons, and then for me to sit back and kind of watch our board work. I don't get to choose the finances for our district, but to hear the board make a decision on whether we want to put some focus financially into some of these opportunities for kids and these activities, because at the same time, speaking for this building, for the high school, my focus for probably financial concerns is more for heating and air conditioning, HVAC system for the high school. There's those things too, but those are not the things that fans showing up to watch the Cardinals on Friday night, they're not going to see the HVAC needs we have for our building as well. So I think it's just important to hear, get a list of ideas of what's a concern, what the community's prioritizing, and then figure out what the board can put some support behind.
Right.
Yeah.
And Carrie and I attended those meetings, and well, I attended one of them. We'll give Carrie most of the credit. She went to both of them, but you know, it was right away you saw that outside of any blame put on anybody, that there was some kind of disconnect that was happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, well, we've gotten the feeling from you guys that you're concerned with addressing that disconnect, and certainly with this video series, that's something that we want to try to do as well, to try to do our part. And you know, as such, we hope that if community members, if they're hesitant to come to you guys, if they're hesitant to give you guys a phone call, we definitely want them to do that.
Yeah.
But if they are hesitant, that they can come to us maybe and pose
Absolutely.
a question to us, and we can come here and we can say, have a conversation about it and address it, and they can watch.
Agreed, and I think that's what's important is, I think we're pretty approachable. I think you can give a call. That just hasn't, the issues that arose over that, I think of this list, 2 parents have contacted our office in this school year. So it's just, you know, I think we're approachable. Give us a call if you're not comfortable, maybe giving us a call if you want to, you know, give the record a call and bring it into this format so we can answer some of the questions and everyone can hear the answer. So
what are some of the other outlets that CHS uses to disseminate information?
Well, because we were talking about extracurriculars there, the Our School Today, which is a link, a website link, as a service we subscribe to. That's a live look at the activities calendar. So in other words, in fact, like this week we had a track schedule change due to weather. It shows up on that calendar first. Every principal in the district now has a website or a blog. Many of our teachers do. All of that is linked together at chadronschools.org to the district website. So you do have to kind of click in, go there. Our guidance counselors have their own web links. They can go in there. All the board documents, all of the daily announcements that are read to the students in our different buildings are on that website. There's links for all of that there. Our student newspaper, our annual class, they do some articles. They're linked in there as well on that chadronschools.org. Outside of that, the Chadron High School Twitter account, parents, I think, are starting to find Twitter. It seems like a professional venue. It's a limited dialogue, so you don't have to read pages and pages of posts. So that was just created this school year to try to disseminate some information. We've had a Chadron High School Facebook account for maybe about 5 years or so, and I have office assistant staff that's up there. I still don't know Facebook. I know that's an ignorant plea, but we do have staff involved that can that put some posts on there. The text messaging services, which again, the information's on our website to subscribe to. Teachers and coaches have the Remind text messaging. We still use the newspaper. Locally, that's still a big draw for information and to highlight different events. Local radio. We have a time slot once a week where we appear on 2 different local radio stations. We can put some students on there, administrators. So we're trying to find, you know, we've got a marquee out here now that wasn't there 3 years ago. We try to push some information out just even on a marquee out on the corner. So again, that's the challenge, is which one of those venues works to push out communication. But back to the meetings that we've had, the biggest thing that my takeaway has been is that the parents, it's not so much that I've been hearing they still want the information, but they've been asking the question why. And I think that's really interesting. Why do you do it this way? Well, I didn't know you had that question.
Right.
Give us a call and ask that question. Because we've spent time at those meetings talking about the Department of Education rules versus the Nebraska School Activities Association, instructional hours, and so that why is a question that I didn't even know existed. You know, why do you schedule like this? Why does this happen? Why this? And I think those are interesting, and the best way to get that information is just to hear it from the source.
Sure.
Give us a call and we can direct you to the staff that has the answers.
Well, that's great, and that's what we hope this video series will kind of help all of us achieve. We want a more informed community. We want to make sure everybody's getting answers to their questions they have. So thank you for being here today.
And give us feedback whether this is a format that works as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.